Hey guys, Hyper here. Again, I'm in editing. This is part two of a three-part series. So part one has already been posted. Make sure you guys watch that. That is going to be your context. This is kind of in the middle of unfortunately, this edit fell in the middle of a discussion to make it work all nicely. So you are going to want to go back and watch the last five-ish minutes of that for proper context here. Mechanicus, you want to add anything?
Watch first one because views.
Sure. Yeah, but otherwise, enjoy the video, you guys, and I'll talk to you again at the end. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Alright, so my next one was actually Persona 3 Dancing. Uh, so the one that I can't remember which
Oh,
dancing game it was
and
actually.
finally, we're getting to be able to talk about this. In the A tier, solidly, is Persona 3 Portable.
Yeah, okay, so for a little bit of context, we will talk about portables here, right here in a second. But for a little bit of context, Mechanicus here, the first Persona 3 game that he played was portable. For me, it was FES. But he played Persona 5 first. I played Persona 4 Golden first. So in that, we definitely differ. But we both have played Persona, and we actually, when he was booting up Persona 3 Portable, I was in a chat just like I am with him now, and I was watching him kind of boot it up. Um, and visually, I think it's fine. But why don't you talk about Portable first, and then I'll chime in.
Okay, so coming at it from a relatively new perspective. Oh, I love this opening. Um, Visually, I love what they do with it. Um, it feels very so just from having watched all of the other Persona 4 3 openings, um I'm like it incorporates a lot of the same stuff. Like all of the letters around people's names, all that fun stuff. Um and all of like the words like memento mori and all that with the main theme. But just some other stuff that they did. First off, I did not notice the box turning into the square. Um, just a little thing that, for whatever reason, popped out of my head. Um, However, um, a lot of my ranking was done musically because, dear God, is this song a banger? Like, um, the beginning part slow and like dark, and I'm just like, oh yes. And then it hits the chorus with like all the guitars and stuff, and I'm just sent, just like, oh. Um, but yeah, that's my take on Persona 3 Portable. Love it.
All right. So for those of you who are paying attention, I put Persona 3 Portable as second to last. Now, I actually thought the opening was fine. But my main gripe with it was in comparison to pretty much every single one that I have ranked higher than it. While I am honestly a huge fan of rock and roll, I love it to death. I listen to rock and roll all the time. Um, but for me, at least, again, same problem I had with like Persona 4. It doesn't have the same punch, which I don't know, maybe the developers were, or the, composers and the musicians and, all the people who developed Persona 3 Portable were limited by the fact that they were using a much smaller platform in the case of PS Vita. And I think that might have had an effect on it. I don't really know. I'm not a huge tech person. Um, but for me, I don't know. I just didn't really like it. I can't really give you a solid reason. I'm sure if I listened to it a fair amount, I would be fine with it. And it would, and I don't know, it might change positions. I don't really know, but again, I'd incorporate for the visuals. But to touch on those, because I feel like it does have to be touched on, I gotta agree with Mechanicus. The visuals are cool. I really like the visuals, but again, I'm not including visuals in my thing, so musically for me, not as good as FES. Just because I really like the opening to FES more. Um, I don't really know why, but I don't know. For me, Persona 3 Portable just, I don't know. It's like something that I would listen to idly. Like, if I'm doing something else and it's in the background, I wouldn't really notice. But it's not something I'm going to be listening to actively. Um, and again, you guys can see like how much we disagree on some of these.
Also, for the record, I'm pretty sure that Persona 3 Portable is the only opening that actually discusses the butterfly effect. Just saying.
Oh yeah, that is a. Well, okay. Here's the thing. Is okay. We're gonna. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't talked about the games more actually. Um, Persona 3 Portable is the only Persona 3 game that uses the butterfly effect to what I would call a significant degree. Because, with Portable, unlike FES and 3 and 4 and 4 Golden and 5 and 5 Royale, you can pick between a male and female character, uh, main characters. So you have MC and FemC, essentially. Um, and, oh god, the Persona 3's main character has so many names. I'm not even going to touch that.
We vibe with Minato though, because that's the simplest.
Yeah, Minato. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think it definitely touches on the butterfly effect, which I will definitely agree with. And I think that's because like, with Persona 3 Portable is that picking between a male and female character, it seems like a very small choice, but from what I've heard, it actually does impact the game. Like
Yep.
sometimes to a very significant degree. Like, okay, straight up obvious one, right? You got to remember like the years that these games were made, by the way. If you know,
Social links. You can romance the dudes.
yep, that is. I would say that is probably one of the larger effects. Again, I haven't played Portable, and I haven't played both sides. I don't think Mechanicus has played both sides.
I haven't, but I'm planning on doing so.
Yeah. But from what I've heard, the butterfly effect is definitely a much, much larger thing in Portable. Shall we go on to the next one? Unless you got any last comments.
Persona 3 Portable is good. That's all I have to say.
All right. Yeah, maybe one day we'll actually talk about the games themselves, but that might be a really long time because we'd actually have to play a good amount of these. All right, next one. I think this is one we agree on actually. Okay, for me, I am actually in the top four now. Persona 3 Dancing was my fifth, quote unquote. So my fourth, top four, is Persona Q, one of the spin-offs.
And for me, top of the A tier is Persona Q as well.
Yes, Persona Q, Maze of Life.
This carousel.
Yeah, it's catchy. It is real catchy, and I love it. Um,
Also, there was in the opening, one part stands out to me in particular.
mhm.
There is a hallway forming, and the colors that they use to form the characters or the walls are blue. The floor is yellow. The doors are yellow and white, and the character portraits themselves are white. And I'm just like, oh, it's the colors. Like it's a small thing, but I'm just like, yo. Also, I just found it really cute that Teddy was dancing with Igus. Just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah, no. This is one of the ones that visually. I mean, I hate the fact that I limited myself with the visuals thing, but I think it's only fair with some of these. But for me, Persona Q musically, I love it. The opening riff is catchy. A lot of the lyrics are catchy. The chorus is catchy. I love the fact that, again, we will definitely touch on this later. I love the fact that they got the singers from Persona 3 and 4. I'm sorry that I can't remember their names. I actually feel really bad about this. Because the singers deserve credit. Because they hammered this one out, and it sounds great. And music-wise, it's great. And again, this part that I'm about to talk about is specifically out of my ranking, but I have to touch on it. Visually, if you guys don't know, essentially each Persona game has a quote unquote main color. For Persona 3, it's blue, Persona 4 is yellow, Persona 5 is red. Again, as Mechanicus said, blue and yellow make up essentially the entire opening like hallway shot, which is, a great integration, and the way the chibi characters interact is adorable and it's fun, and in the music itself, back to the part that I actually judged it on, is great. I think it fits the kind of more goofy spin-off game that it really is. It's definitely not as serious as Persona 3. If you've played or talked about Persona 3, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about that much because I've been yelled at for spoilers before. Um, but in my opinion, it fits so well to the series in like just the Persona Q, and I love it. Again, I had a really hard time ranking like a lot of these. This is definitely one of those. Actually, my top five are pretty much all like that. Got anything else?
Persona Q's great. It's only like $20 on Nintendo. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I gotta I gotta freaking get my old 3DS to work. Um, all right, going on. We are now in the top three. So number three for me was Persona 5. Actually, how about you?
And for me, number three, we're moving into the S tier, boys. Number three is Persona 3 Dancing.
All right, let's talk about Persona 3 Dancing. For me, it was my number five. Um, Persona 3 Dancing is it's a very different take, and it definitely goes into the more lighthearted and fun side of the Persona games, at least 4 and 5. Which makes sense considering it wasn't released as part of the quote unquote main package of Persona 3 games. Because 3, FES, and Portable were released within a relatively short time span, but the difference between that and Persona 3 Dancing is years. And for context, Persona 3 Dancing and Persona 5 Dancing released at about the same time. And their stories are integrated together. Some of the social links in game I've heard actually like talk about each other, and it's great. And the plots are all integrated stuff. But Persona 3 Dancing me is I don't know. I guess I just like happier music, just in general. And it is definitely a more happy music. It integrates Burn My Dread and Mass Destruction really well, even if it's just a quick name drop. Um, I believe it's in the chorus. Burn My Dread is in like a backing vocal, and um, I believe, and at one point they sing about not needing mass destruction for this because it's definitely more lighthearted and all that kind of stuff. Um, I'm not gonna touch on the visuals. I'll leave that to Mechanicus.
Okay, so if any of y'all have watched Death Parade, that is what this opening reminds me of.
Oh
Because
yeah, for sure, for sure.
as as we have mentioned before, Persona 3, out of like the Persona games that people actually care about, sorry 1 and 2
And
fans, you don't
Atlas doesn't
exist.
forget.
Um
It's like
but
okay, this is the joke that I mean, it's not really a joke. It's true.
I mean,
It's like
Persona
how Valve
Q3.
can't count to three. Atlas doesn't know what the numbers one and two are. It's great. I love it. If you combine the companies, you could actually have them count. It's great. I'm sorry, I had to mention that. That's just funny to me.
Okay. Anyways, back to my thing. This opening reminded me so much of Death Parade, and Death Parade is up there for like, okay, so if this was like a my anime lists or whatever, like this would be like up there for top 10 anime openings that are way more happy than the actual series. And I don't know what it is about openings that are like that, but I'm just like, heck yeah, I like seeing these characters that deal with death and mortality. Dear God, this really is just Death Parade. But like I really like seeing these characters just like, okay, now we're grooving.
Yeah, they're just
Um
having fun. They're chilling.
yeah, like
And
no one's actively pulling the trigger.
at least not in the opening. Yeah, but another thing that I figured to touch on, which is, Persona 4 dancing is called Dance, Persona 3, 5 dancing is Groovy. Persona 3 dancing is actually called Our Moment, which I think definitely fits, so, like, it definitely provides that, even if it's just a name, provides that connection to Persona 3 a little bit better. Because Persona 3 is definitely more about what do you do with every, like, living second that you have. Because, Memento Mori, you are going to die. It's sad, but it's true. Ultimately, it's a whole nother discussion. I'm sure people can tell where I was going to go with that. But I got to agree, it's it's nice for a series that is normally so dark to have that really lighthearted twist. And Persona 4 and Persona 5, it's Persona 4 definitely touches on the darker stuff. But Persona 5, I I don't know, Mechanicus, you've actually played the game, but I don't think Persona 5 touches on the darker stuff as much.
The darkest that they get is all like, oh, if we steal someone's heart, then they could die. But like that, at least from what I remember, that is the worst that they get. Because by the end, like even by the first palace, there's already a cop out. Like, oh, if we steal it or whatever and do something or other, like let the palace person live, then they'll have a change of heart and not enter vegetative state.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
think definitely it'll be a good idea to talk about like the themes of the games, which actually we might record that like I don't know, maybe within like a week or so, because that's
I don't know.
definitely an interesting subject. But we both got to
But
think about it a bit more.
keep in mind, it's been a while. I don't really remember if it gets much darker than that.
Yeah,
At
I
least
remember
in
some
terms of
stuff very
mortality and
vaguely.
death and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, shall we
but
move on
yeah,
to seconds?
number two
Number two for me, it was Persona Q2. How about you?
for me, OGP5.
OGP5. All right, Persona 5, the original. Its opening is called "Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There." If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It is great. I You can tell by his excited giggling that almost drowned me out, and it might have, and I can't tell because recording software is weird. Um, but wake up, get up, get out there. Lyrically, it fits Persona 5 very well. I mean, the title says it all. The title of the song says it all. Wake up from what you're in, get out into the world, do something about it. Right?
Yeah.
Right? You wake up, you wake up, you learn something, right? Get up, you're on the move, you're starting to go. Get out there, do something about it. And even then, it connects to Persona 5 very well. Not to mention, it is really good. Just in general, I love it. Just the instrumentation, the, pace, the riffs that were incorporated so horribly into Persona 5 dancing. I can't get that out of my head. Are very iconic. They are iconic of at least the quote unquote modern Persona series. And they're great, and I love them.
I want to gush about P5 now. Please let me gush about P5
No!
now.
Stay with the openings. We can talk about the games later.
Okay, so opening wise, this is my first Persona game. So obviously, I'm giving it
Nostalgia!
I'm giving it nostalgia points. However, even if I'm still looking at it purely objectively, or as objective as you can be with these kinds of ratings, it is still a bomb opening. Like, um, I mentioned this before. Um, the opening only uses three colors. You got red, you got black, and you got white. And in my opinion, I'm just like, okay, so by the opening, I've already found out, okay, main color is red, got it. And then just more subliminally, I guess, like, for example, there was one scene in the opening where I believe it is Joker, or either him or the camera pans into the crossing in Tokyo that everyone knows about. I forget the name.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
and
very
then
iconic
out of
crossing.
it, it is like the crossing itself, white and black. Like and the people across crossing it, white and black. But from out of it comes the red, and I'm just like, and looking back on it, I'm just like, that makes so much sense because out of the red comes Arsene, which, dear God, help you if you don't know yet. But Arsene is the protagonist's
Main,
primary persona.
yeah. You can't
Um,
really like say the
and
protagonists have, oh, it's the protagonist like Izanagi is used persona. It's not. The main thing with the
it's the
protagonists is that they
primary.
have the power of the quote unquote wild card, which lets them use any persona that they have access to, theoretically.
But keep continuing with that. I'm just like, looking back on it, I'm just like, wow. what brilliant incorporation of the themes of taking normal society, this black and white construct, and adding in like color. And I'm just like, and looking back on it, I'm pretty dang sure this is why Persona 5 Royal's opening didn't work with me, because it used a lot of color play. Like
It
Persona
was very
5 Royal
sparkly.
used colors like it was nothing. Um, but Persona 5 used its limited palette really, really well.
Yeah, to its advantage.
Um, and then I'm gonna go on this for a while because dear God, do I like this
Oh,
opening.
jeez, this is gonna
Um,
be like a 2-hour video. It's
okay,
already 48 minutes.
editing. Um, but continuing on with Persona 5, I'm gonna make this quick. Musically, um, just like purely by tune. Dun, 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 dun. How does that not get stuck in your head? Um, also, um,
It's got a
like
pretty killer baseline. Like, if, like, okay, I gotta add this. If you listen to music, like, at a more serious level, like, if you're listening to it every now and then, like, Mechanicus does, if you're a musician, okay, here's how I should phrase this. If you're a musician, listen to bass lines. Because trust me, more often than not, with, stuff like this, with opening themes and, more iconic songs, a lot of those songs have really good bass lines. This is a great example of that. Sorry, go.
and
Keep going.
and continuing. Okay, so there's this one set of lyrics, and this is my last point. One set of lyrics that I'm just like, because I don't normally pay attention to the lyrics, but dear God, do I love this opening, so I'm paying attention to the lyrics. Um, so there's like this little bit that I'm just like, that is Persona 5 in a nutshell. And it's like, just imagine you're out there, swatting lies in the making. Can't move fast without breaking. If you hold on, life won't change. Like that is the epitome of Persona 5. It is okay, we are taking this opportunity that we have and we are changing the world for the better, which is carrying on with that theme of little people doing big things. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Yeah, so you may have noticed if you were counting or just kind of keeping track, we only have two left to cover. So let's get to them. Now, my number one, again, just like Mechanicus, there's definitely a nostalgia factor in this. Persona 4 Golden. What's your number one?
Persona Q2.
All right. This brings up the question of which one do we talk about first? Because which one was brought up first? I
Um,
think Golden was brought up first
Golden
in
was brought
general.
up
Yeah, no,
first at
because
the bottom
Q2.
of A tier.
Yeah, because Q2 was my second. All right, so let's talk about Shadow World. Again, I played Persona 4 Golden first in a proper playthrough, and I'm actually doing two simultaneous playthroughs right now. Unfortunately, the first time I did it, I accidentally spoiled the story for myself. Don't do that. It ruins things. It makes it less fun. But I'm still having a lot of fun with it. Just the Persona 4 cast is good. I can talk about that later. But for me, Persona 4 Golden, right? The whole thing about Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden is Reach is, finding the truth, right? You're literally called the investigation team. Like the canonical names for everything. In Persona 3, it's SEES, SEES. There's like Special Extracurricular Execution Squad, I think. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. And what's the canonical one for Persona 5?
Phantom Thieves.
Phantom Thieves. Right. How did I forget that? But
Idiot.
shut up. But for Shadow World, the opening the song is constantly talking about truth. It literally the first few lines are truth is elusive, it's nowhere to be found. And the entire thing is about, you know, the only truth that you can find literally is in other people that have the same want, that have the same need. And they also incorporate, the main theme of, you're an investigation team, figure out what happened. Is literally, again, one of the other lines, it, like, definitely middle end of the song is, to find out what's neath the cover up, find out what's beneath the cover up, what's actually happening. And not to mention, it has got a killer bass riff. Also the harmonica. the opening harmonica is iconic, and I love it. But on a personal note, as earlier I said, I'm a musician. The Persona 4 Golden Riff was the first one that I actually learned, and I started messing around with bass purely to learn it, and I do not regret it. Bass is definitely not my primary instrument. I more use it for the hell of it, but it's still it's memorable. It kind of sticks in your head once you hear it a couple times, or even just once. And to me, it just sounds great. I love it. I can't really complain about it. What do you think, Mechanicus?
Okay, my take on P4 Golden. First off, dear God, I love that harmonica. I don't know what it is about that harmonica
You and
that just
harmonicas,
makes,
man. There's something with you and just harmonicas.
yeah, like to the point where I can play the Piano Man harmonica just on the harmonica I have on my desk. Um, anyways, that's besides the point. First off, love the harmonica opening. Heck yeah. Second, um, just taking it from like, I'm pretty dang sure this came out before P4 Dancing. Um,
Um,
I
who
mean,
I'd have to
either
get back
way,
to on that one. I don't know. I'll probably put it in the description which one came out first.
either way, like, because I'm pretty sure Persona 4 OG did the same thing. But the whole thing with like, it feels like a title card, and it really kind of plays into this. Like, in contrast to Persona 3, the game that a lot of people probably rode the back off of, into this, it really sells the. This isn't a game about death. This is a game about. Well, it isn't. It isn't a game about confronting death. It's about celebrating life. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, actually,
Um,
to quote a YouTube comment, funnily enough, the comment that I read was, "This game is the definition of the real reward was the friends you made along the way."
Honestly, though,
Yeah, no, we got to make a video talking about the games as we know them, cause we
right.
got a lot to talk about on those. And
Anyways,
obviously that
back
that
to
one's gonna be
opening.
spoiler marked, cause
Anyway,
we're definitely gonna be talking about different stuff. But back to the main subject. I'm sorry.
back to the openings. Okay, Persona 4 Golden. I really like how they did the same title card sequence that all of the other games have done. That's a really nice recurring theme that I think sells this as less of a combat focused thing and more like you are spending time with these people, so here are their names straight out.
Yeah, they
Um,
literally in the title card. If you haven't watched it, they each character essentially has like a what? It's like a 3 to 5 second little show off essentially, and you get their
oh,
name and like some cool background stuff. And I believe one of
oh,
our friends pointed out that Teddy has a tomahawk missile in the background.
oh yeah.
It's
If
really
you don't
funny.
think,
Like go watch the opening, try to spot it. It's above Teddy's head. If you just watch above, you'll see like a missile careen out of nowhere. It's great.
yeah, Teddy's a war criminal. Anyways, also, just another small thing. I really love how Yosuke has the garbage bin
Oh
on
yeah, he
him when
becomes
he's
the
doing his
trash man.
thing. Um, and I'm just like, that is actually really funny and really cool. Like, not even foreshadowing, just like reference to, okay, you first meet this man when he's riding a bike, crashes into a trash can.
Yep.
And it's the exact same trash can.
Yeah, the first
Anyways,
time you actually talk to him is well, quote unquote talk to him and don't just leave him be. But that's like a funny line just in of itself in the game.
I'll leave him be.
Yeah, I'll leave him
Um,
be. I'll leave him be. But the
but
first time you actually help him is he's stuck headfirst in a trash can. And that's the first time you actually talk to him. It's hilarious. So
anyways,
him like popping his head out of a trash can is very funny, especially once you've like played that part.
back to this. Just in general, like the only thing that's really keeping this out of B tier is that I, in general,
You mean S tier?
um,
Because I
no,
thought
no,
that
no,
was an
B
A
tier.
tier.
This is no, this is an A
Oh, you're
tier, but
saying
it's
okay,
tiering
yeah,
between A
okay,
and
gotcha,
B.
gotcha.
But the only thing really keeping it out of B is just that I have more experience with it, and I prefer, or Like, yeah,
Okay. Yeah. No.
like I just have
Totally
more
fair.
experience
Totally
with
fair.
it. I have more love for it. So yeah.
All right. Hey guys, Hyper here again, editing mode. This is the end of part two. Part three will be uploaded pretty shortly if you guys are watching this at the upload date. But part three will be out, and that'll be when we finish this all up, and I'll make sure that our full lists are posted there, and all the links and stuff to the songs that we talked about should be in the description at this point. Um, but yeah, that's about it. Mechanicus, want to say anything to our nice viewers?
Keep watching, please. We need the views.
Uh, yeah, but otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night or whatever it is, and I will see you guys in the next episode, part, whatever. Bye!